What is up, y'all? So this is probably the latest time that I have ever done a live, and that just goes to show you how serious I am about the information I'm about to share with you. So if you haven't already, hey Angela, if you haven't already seen any of the posts that I've posted, my name is Stefanny Kerr. I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a content creator, and if you've been following me for a while, then you will know that I have been talking about this event that I was going to be attending. The event is called Millions Retreat. It's hosted by Toyin Crandall, and today was day one of Millions Retreat. Earlier today, as I was making my way over, I started just filming in the car, and Instagram was doing what Instagram does, so I didn't end up sharing anything this morning. But tonight, after the first day of Millions Conference, I just wanted to come and share a little bit about what took place in the room, because I've been talking about getting in the room. Every single post, if you guys look back over the past few posts that I put up, every single post has been about the importance of getting in the room. And we had a strategy call prior to the start of the retreat today. And in that call, Toyin was just letting us know, hey, when I show up in a room where I know there's going to be people who can unlock my next level, I don't just show up and I'm kind of like, we'll just see what happens. She literally goes in and has questions, goes in and has expectations. She's going in and sitting in the front row. And so guess what I did? Today I was in the front row. Today I was asking questions. Today I had expectations. And I sat down with God and said, what do you want me to believe you for in this particular event? And not just that, but by the grace of God, I was able to have my mom there with me as well. And I had spoken to a friend of mine prior to the event, maybe a couple weeks ago, and I said to her, this amazing event is happening. Would you like to volunteer? And she's like, no, I'm going to be kind of busy. And I was like, okay, no worries. And then when I found out that I could possibly get her in the room, I came back to her and I said, sis, this event is going to be amazing. I know Toyin personally, but I also know her as a coach. And I know that the content and what she shares with people is not fluff. She has herself, by the grace of God, gone from struggling and could not afford food to eat to a multimillionaire. And you don't just trip and fall into success like that. That was a very intentional decision on her part and commitment that she has maintained over the years. So I went back to my friend and I was just like, if you can get in the room, would you want to? And that friend wasn't able to. So for the sake of that friend, but for anybody else who was not in the room today, I want to share some of my top takeaways. And I got this notebook. This was the notebook that I got today. And although I just started it, I'm literally already 6 pages in of notes just from one day and a few hours in one of the sessions. So let me just share with you, for those who are not at Millions Retreat 2024, some of what we talked about today in the room. So number one, commit to fighting for whatever your next level is. There's so many, and this is not, I didn't pull out these specific ones that I'm going to talk about today. I'm just going to literally look at the page and read out what stands out to me. So commit to fighting for whatever your next level is. You know what is beyond where you are right now. You know if you're living up to your fullest potential. And truthfully, a lot of people are living lives where they've just kind of resigned themselves to be where they are, and they're not fighting for their next level. Me actually being on live right now is me fighting for my next level. I'm not going to go into all the details of how that is the truth or is the reality, but that's me. Number two, I guess I'll say, down on the page, I'm not just in the room for myself. I'm in the room for everyone who's going to receive the transformation that I go through. So every single room that you fight to get into, when I say fight to get into, I'm not saying you're actually physically fighting to get there, but perhaps you have to stretch to be able to invest to afford to get into that room. Perhaps you have to stretch to make time in your schedule, or whatever the case is. There's different ways that we stretch to make something happen. But one thing that she reminded us of right away was that whenever we go into a room to get the training that we need for our next level, we're not just in the rooms for ourselves. We're in the rooms for every single person who's going to be touched by our transformation. And that really spoke to me because it just reminded me of the fact that, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable to raise your hand. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to ask the question. Sometimes you literally are the only one. And she spoke about that as well. Sometimes you will be the only, I don't know, Asian man in the room. Sometimes you'll be the only black woman in the room. Sometimes you'll be the only one who didn't go to an Ivy League school in the room. But it's okay to be the only. Why? Because you're not just there for yourself. And just keeping that in mind. But session number 1 was about the cost of avoidance. Now, the analogy that she gave was actually a dental analogy. And I don't want this live to be super long, so I'll try to like summarize as quickly as I can. But a dental analogy. So she shared with us that she had gone to Woman Evolve a couple weeks ago, and at one point there was like a health, session. And there was a dentist who was sharing that sometimes people have a toothache. And this toothache that they have, it will be hurting for a couple of days, and they're like, oh my gosh, like it hurts so much. And then the pain goes away. So like, oh, perfect. Like the pain's gone, the tooth must be fine, and they just move on with their lives. But what she actually shared with the audience, 40,000 women who had gathered for Women Evolve, was that, and this is really, really important, and it speaks to the danger and the cost of avoiding just addressing something when it's nice and small. She said, sometimes the pain goes away not because the infection was dealt with, but because the nerve is now dead. And when she said that, this is Toya now sharing it with us, I said to myself, that is so interesting. I had no idea that it was possible for a nerve to die and for you to now no longer feel the pain. And so you think that it's no longer an issue, but it's still very much an issue. You just don't feel it now. And so she goes on to just share with us, and I think I'm actually going to stop here, just about the cost of avoidance. But again, sometimes the pain goes away because the nerve is dead. And this line really got me. Many of us are living in cycles of avoidance that end up creating a crisis. Welcome to everyone who's online. Yeah, so some of us end up, let me read that line again. Yeah, many of us are living in cycles of avoidance that end up creating a crisis. So the example that was shared was, the toothache. It was literally something small. You could have dealt with it then, but you didn't. And so it escalated and became something that is potentially fatal. Because what I also didn't know was that our teeth, like the nerves in our teeth, are connected to our brain and they're connected to our heart. And so an infection that's actually very bad in your mouth can actually kill you. And I had no idea. And that's how a lot of us are going through life. There's things that we know we need to address, but we just keep avoiding it over and over and over until it's just building up. It's not going away. We may not be feeling the pain like we were the first time, for example, the first time that we felt the pain, or the first time we got a parking ticket, but we just keep letting the parking ticket stack up until eventually it's like a huge mountain in front of us, right? So I think I'll stop there. That was one of the biggest things that really stood out. So I hope that is able to speak to somebody tonight. And again, the room today was good, and I know we're just getting started with Millions Retreat, so I'm super excited about what tomorrow holds. And this was just like a short recap of what took place in the room. I'll be sure to post some content, some reels and everything after the event is over, but I will probably do my best to just share like a daily live at the end of the day to just be like, hey, this is what we learned today. But yeah, the encouragement here is the things that need to be addressed. Don't avoid them until they become a huge crisis that you can't ignore. All right, so have an amazing night, guys. My name is Stefanny, and I will see you very soon.